Hey everybody, welcome back to our cheap meal series. Today we are going to be making potato soup. Now this was really popular during the Depression era. Simple soup with potatoes, water, salt, pepper, onion, and then milk. Sometimes they would add bacon if they had it. Just a great kitchen sink soup is what I like to call it. So if you have something that needs to get used up, like carrots or celery, you can throw that in there too. And you can play around with your protein if you want to put protein in it at all. So we're gonna jump into prepping some of our ingredients. All right, so the ingredients that I already have prepped are in little measuring cups that I like to use as pre-portioned ingredient cups. Like I said, I have some celery to use up, so we're gonna start by chopping that. If you have some picky eaters that are in your family that don't like to eat things like celery or what have you, I'm going to use an immersion blender to blend some of this up. But all right, so we have 2 stalks of celery that I needed to use up. So we're going to set that to the side right now. We don't go through onions super fast because I'm the only one who really likes them, but I love adding onion to soup. So I usually buy an onion or 2 or a bag even, chop it all up and then separate it into a Ziploc bag and freeze it. So I just pulled out about a 1/4 cup of chopped onion that we're gonna use, and then a tablespoon of garlic, because garlic goes with everything. And then we are actually going to make potato soup with ham in it. So this is some ham that we have left over that's already diced that we've been using for breakfasts and stuff. We're gonna fry that up and make this part of the soup. Now, ham is kind of expensive, but what I like to do is after Christmas or Easter, your grocery store is usually going to have ham that they're trying to get rid of for very, very cheap. So right after Christmas, our local Walmart had hams, 10-pound hams for $8. So I like to buy a ham or 2 and then slice it up for some of the portions, and then dice it up for other portions, and then we use it for like grilled cheese and ham. We use it for breakfasts, burritos, and soup. So that is how we get our ham for cheap. So we're going to be using ham today. All right, so we have our pot. We are going to turn our burner on. We're going to put it at about a medium heat. I'm going to use a tablespoon of butter. It's already warm. We're gonna spread the butter around and get nice and melted. Now it's starting to sizzle a little bit, so I'm gonna add our ham, and I'm gonna use the rest of this bag, which is probably about 1/2 pound. But it's diced, so you'll be able to get some ham through all of the soup. Kind of stretches the ham, makes it go farther. We're gonna let this brown up a little bit to get that nice flavor. I'll check back with you when it's time to add our seasoning vegetables, I guess I would call them. So I'll see you back in just a minute. All right, our ham, you can probably hear it popping, is getting nice and crisp and browned. So we're gonna turn the heat down a little bit because you don't want your onions and your garlic to burn. So we're gonna put it in that celery to get that nice and softened. And then add our onion. I prefer sweet onion like Vidalia, but use what you have and what you like. Smells so good. And now we're going to add in that garlic. The garlic is definitely what you want to add in last because you don't want it to burn because it will make your garlic bitter. And the celery and onions are soft and the ham is nice and brown and the garlic is fragrant. So we are going to pull this off. So I'm going to shut off the heat and then that handle got a little hot, so I'm going to grab an oven mitt. I'm just going to take our ham and veggie mix and put it in a bowl for later to add to our soup. Put that down, put this to the side. All right, we are going to get to prepping our potatoes. So for this, you want to use gold or russet potatoes because they're starchier, so they will thicken the soup naturally. We're going to use about 10 medium-sized potatoes. Some are larger and some are smaller, but they all kind of even out. You can use red, just know that it'll be a little bit thinner of a soup, but you could thicken that with making a roux. But if you don't, this is a naturally gluten-free soup. You don't have to peel the potatoes either. You can just wash them really well and cut them up, but I'm going to peel them. All right, so we are going to dump our potato peels. Really, it's been so warm that we could probably start composting and throwing the potato peels in the garden. But and you're just gonna cut the potatoes up for boiling. So some of them it'll be cut into sixths, some will be cut into eighths. But you want them all kind of roughly the same size so that they finish cooking at the same time. And just check for bad spots when you're cutting them up. These are all looking pretty good. Like this one, probably trim that spot out. All our potatoes are chopped. It is about, I'm gonna cut some of this one off. It's about a quarter of a pot full of potatoes. So now we are going to add some chicken stock over this. You can do water, but you just want enough to cover the potatoes. Ooh. Which in this case was about 4 cups. Again, you could use water, you could use turkey stock, chicken stock. If you cut up a ham to divvy out into different portions, you could use the ham bone and make a ham stock with it too. That would be good. All right, we are going to turn the heat back on. We're going to put this at about a medium heat. We're going to put the lid on and we're going to let the potatoes come to boil and then boil for about 20 minutes until they're fork tender. And then we'll get to making the base of the soup. So I'll see you back in just a little bit. All right, our potatoes have been boiling and we're just gonna turn down the heat onto low. It's been about 25 minutes. Now, we're gonna drain off some of the broth. All right. I'm going to add another tablespoon of butter to this. There's still quite a bit, well, not quite a bit, there's still a little bit of liquid in here. But I'm going to mash up some of the potatoes so it's not super big chunks. We're going to add some of this broth back. So it has the starch from the potatoes, it's a chicken stock base, and then it has some of that ham flavor because it got that browning from the ham off the bottom of the pot. Just kind of like we're making mashed potatoes, essentially. I'm going to put all of this back in. I'm going to turn this all the way off for right now, just because I'm stirring it so much. All right, right here I have a cup of milk. And just be kind of gentle so you don't splash. a little thick yet, so I might want to add another half cup of milk. So I'm gonna grab that quick and I'll be back and we'll finish adding everything together and then let it simmer some more. All right, so I have about a half a cup more that I'm gonna put in. And this part really is your preference, how thick or thin you want it. We are gonna simmer it, so it's gonna get a little bit thicker. That. And now we're gonna add back the ham, celery, onion, and garlic mix. That mixed up really good. And then we are going to turn the heat back on. Except for maybe we are out of fuel, so one moment. All right, so then we are going to turn the heat back on. Bring it down to a low heat because you have that milk in there now. You don't want it to be too hot and curdle. That is looking nice and thick. So we're just gonna let it simmer a little bit and bring those flavors together. Probably gonna do a little taste to see where we're at with the salt, because remember we have that chicken broth in there, we have ham. Just about a pinch, some pepper, and you could do garlic and onion powder, but we have garlic and onion in here, so I'm going to skip that this time. All right, we're going to let these flavors come together and then we will try it out. All right, we are back. It has been simmering. We're going to turn this off. Remove the lid. Remove my bowl and spoon over here. Pop that out so we don't waste a bunch of fuel. It is so thick and it smells delicious. It smells like baked potato and ham. All right, we are going to try this out. I'm going to get a chunk of potato and some ham. It's so good. It's just a nice, thick, hearty soup that warms you from the inside out. Perfect for a winter day. Seriously, so good. Again, this is a kitchen sink soup. Whatever you have to use up, you can throw in here. And you can play around with the different proteins. You could use sausage, you could use ham, you could use bacon, you could forgo protein altogether. Being prepared when it comes to cooking is really just about being able to make something that tastes good, that you'll eat, that is going to nourish you with what you have on hand. So don't feel bad if you don't have just a huge closet pantry of ingredients. Just play around with what you do have and try to learn those skills so that you're able to feed yourself with what you have on hand. I will say I could have probably boiled the potatoes a little bit longer so they were softer, but this is delicious. And you can doctor it up if you want to add sour cream or cheese after the fact, or some green onion on top, but this is going to make a delicious dinner today. Oh, you know what would be really good with this? If you had a fresh loaf of bread. I can show you guys my no-knead bread recipe. If you want to see that, leave that in a comment down below. Let me know if there's any other recipe that you want me to try out. And again, this is going to be the first Sunday of every month. So I will see you guys on the next one.